So listen, let's just address the elephant in the room. There's always been rumor and innuendo. The chatter online, even back then, is that Shawn came up with a knee injury to get out of doing a job to Bret at WrestleMania. Now, I'm not asking if you think there was any validity to that yet. I am asking, when you first heard, all right, so he was good enough to win it back at the Royal Rumble, even when he was sick and nearly dead, and now a couple weeks later, he'll never wrestle again. Did that pass the smell test for you, or were there at least people who questioned it in the office?
Well, a lot of people question it, but I didn't question it at that point, no.
Okay.
Not at all. Tell you when I did question it. I questioned it in Lowell, Mass, when we came up with the idea to, okay, let's go on out, let's have a match, and it'll be, we can do a schmoz, and Sid's gonna, King Cancun with the chair, and roll you up 1, 2, 3, and mess up your knee, and you go on and have your surgery, and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
And when it's like, yeah, no, can't do that, man. Can't do that because the knee's too bad. I think I just need to forfeit the title. That's when I was like, okay, never question. Look, I guarantee he had a knee injury. I guarantee that.
Yeah. But you couldn't do this. You couldn't do a roll up schmoz.
Yeah. You can't lay down for the 3 count.
Your knees hurt so bad you can't lay down.
Yeah.
So when you guys have that initial understanding that, okay, Shawn's out, that was the initial plan, is let's just have Sid beat him. And I mean, you knew right away. All right.
Old, yeah. Okay. That night.
Yeah.
On TV, and I got to share this with you. This is kind of cute in so many ways because I've known Jose Lothario since I was a kid.
Right.
And, now Jose is working with us, and Jose is just so respectful. And so I think Jose was looking at it too, like, hey man, I got a nice gig going here. Right. So I'll keep this going. And Jose pulls me off the side. He goes, Bruce, I think it's the boots that Shawn wears. He wears those cowboy boots all the time. If we could just get him out of the cowboy boots, I think that will fix his knee. And I'm looking at Jose like, man, yeah, Jose, I don't know, man. I don't think that's it. I think, but hey, you know what? I think you should suggest that to him. Let him know that if he just didn't wear cowboy boots, that probably his knee would heal up pretty good.
Amazing.
It came from the sweetest place, but I mean, if you could just looking at him, and he was so sweet about it, like a father that just didn't want to believe that his son set that fire with the match in his hand, So that, that was, and then Shawn talking about, and he would have the selective limp. And then Jose says to me, he goes, and I watched him. He ran up those stairs. And I said, yeah, he did, Jose. He sure did. So, yeah. And then the whole I lost my smile shit. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, yeah. Now let's talk.
We went from a knee injury to Mom says, don't smile anymore.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that have anything to do with the price of grain? Like, okay. So yeah, there were a lot of those, that's when that night, that day and that night low, where it all just went, okay.
So you're kind of rolling your eyes at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vince wants to believe, and Vince wants to
give the benefit of the doubt.
Save face.
Yeah. So
bad on that, and it's like, we're all going, yeah, nah. It's not, it's what, there wasn't a sniff test. Shit. It just wasn't there.
Dave would write, Michael's career was teased as being over due to a knee injury portrayed on television Thursday as being so bad, even reconstructive surgery may not be able to repair the damage, as a teary-eyed Michaels, whose problem was clearly in the interview, not a knee injury, said farewell to the WWF in a classic interview, repeated to death on TV and pay-per-view about 100 times in the ensuing weekend. It wound up only to have noted orthopedic surgeon Dr. Jim Andrews say Michaels' knee wouldn't even require surgery at all, and that after 4 to 6 weeks of rehab, he'd be able to return. At press time, it appears the plan is for Michaels to now be put back into the WrestleMania mix, although not as a wrestler, perhaps doing announcing or as a special referee, wrestle a few major shows during the summer, and return full-time in the fall. Now listen, there's so much to talk about here, and Lord knows I'm not trying to beat up on Shawn. I want to say now, from all accounts, Shawn is a different guy now. So let's just...
Oh my God. I
mean, the same person at all.
Not even close.
But that being said, I do want to acknowledge one big hole in this theory that I used to have, because I was a big believer that, man, Shawn just didn't want to drop the belt, which I get. But we used to hear Shawn's best friend, Kevin Nash, do interviews where he would say, man, you never even knew what kind of year you were going to have financially until you got your WrestleMania payoff. So by removing yourself from WrestleMania, okay, maybe you don't, have your big main event and lose the title, and I guess that's good. But you're still not going to have the title because you're going to drop it beforehand. But now you won't get the big Mania payoff. Like on some level, mathematically, he hurts himself financially here, does he not?
I think so, but I think that in some ways that Shawn may have been looking at it from, I'll hurt them by not being on it.
Short-sighted thinking.
Yeah, but I think that's where Shawn's head was at the time.
So once, it sounds as if you guys tried to get Shawn to go to Dr. Andrews, and he doesn't, and instead says, no, I just want to go to my local doctor. And I hear you. I get that. But then somehow he does wind up going to Dr. James Andrews. How does that happen? No, I won't go. This is what we're going with, to, okay, you forfeited the title. Now get your ass to Birmingham. How do you get him to come around to that line of thinking?
He just finally did.
I got you.
It's okay. I didn't lose the title. I forfeited it. But God, what a miracle! By God, if I could be healed and come back and holy cow, and overcome again. And I think that was, I'm trying to put thoughts and trying to figure out what people were thinking. And that is what I think that could have been a thought going through his head. That, okay, now, but of course I'm going to go to the best in the world now and find out what's really wrong and come back.
So